Welcome to ACC Crunch Time with your host, Patrick O'Brien. Welcome to another All Things ACC Crunch Time here. I'm your host, Patrick O'Brien, talking a little bit about some updated rankings for All Things ACC. Talking about some impressive wins from Week 5 and then some of the rankings from Week 6 heading into some great matchups that we have coming up this coming weekend here. But we're going to go through our rankings that we have. After Week 5 showdowns, we had some impressive wins, some movement along all throughout the rankings here. But we're going to start at the top here. We got to go with Clemson after their win against Louisville 42-36. They went up early, held on at the end. Definitely some dramatic ending there in Death Valley there. But after they started off kind of slow in the offense, they've kind of turned it on to Deshaun Watson, now back in the Heisman talk there after his 5-touchdown performance. But Clemson, with that win, they had the most impressive win so far, I would say, in the ACC right now. They're coming at number 1. At number 2, it's got to be Louisville, even though they lost against the Tigers. It was on the road. They came back. They were down 28-10 at some point. Came back, led in the fourth, but eventually just came up a yard short late in the game, and they had a chance to win. But I would not be surprised. We were talking earlier about Florida State and Clemson possibly being two teams from the ACC to make it into the college playoff. Obviously, Florida State will not be in there at all. But Louisville could certainly take their place. Clemson runs a table and everything. They should find themselves in the college football and ACC title game. Stuff like that. But Louisville, if they run the table as well, even defeating Houston, if they continue to win, they have some impressive wins. Their only loss against Clemson, they could easily find themselves in the college playoff as well, depending on what other teams kind of can make a run or come up, or whoever else loses in the coming weeks there. At number 3, we have Miami. Took care of Georgia Tech, scoring 2 defensive touchdowns, eventually taking away any kind of momentum or anything that the Yellow Jackets have. They've been impressive, defensively and offensively throughout their 4 games so far. So they're coming at number 3. They got a big matchup against Florida State this week. At number 4, I'm going to go with Virginia Tech, just slightly over North Carolina, who I have them at number 5. I say Virginia Tech. I think they've been more impressive on both sides of the ball. Gerard Evans is, coming in, looking like a prime ACC contender. One of the top quarterbacks in the conference. Has played really well. The offense is clicking. Their defense is really playing well at most of the time there so far. So they got a big matchup against North Carolina this weekend. So that'll be a nice battle between 4 and 5 in our rankings here. As I mentioned, North Carolina comes in number 5. They have some impressive wins. You have to give it up for against Pittsburgh. They came back and won in a Coastal Division kind of game. But then not many people gave them a chance going up against Dalvin Cook and Florida State running game. But they came out. Mitch Trubisky's looked, really primed to make a run maybe for an ACC Player of the Year. The way he's playing, 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions so far, 3 games now over with 400 yards. They had to come in number 5 there. And number 6, I have them at Florida State, but they're dropping. They can drop dramatically if they continue to lose. I think they got some issues, definitely. Offense, I still think sometimes they get a little lost, especially with a freshman quarterback, everything like that. But I think it's their defense that I don't think they're as good as everybody thought they would be there. I mean, they have the talent. It's not coming together on both ends there. They dropped to number 6 with their loss to North Carolina. They're 0-2 now in the ACC. And number 7, NC State had a solid win against undefeated Wake Forest at the time. Came out hot first quarter, went up 17-0. Never looked back. Against I think a Wake Forest defense that's pretty good. They're going to keep them in battles throughout the ACC. So I have to give number 7 good win, solid win for NC State. And number 8, Pittsburgh. They kind of head off in the ACC play. Had Marshall, a team that has struggled this year. Pittsburgh, they scored 43, but the coaching staff will be looking at giving up 27 points in the second half. They come in number 8 there. Number 9, Wake Forest. As mentioned, they lost to NC State. I think a lot of it has to do, I would say, is they do depend on their defense, but I think Kendall Hinton is a big miss and a hurt for them offensively. I think he can do a lot throwing and running the ball there. With him out, I don't know if Wake Forest can continue their success early on in the year, but they need him back, I think. And when they do, I think he's definitely a difference maker coming down the end of the year. Number 10, I got Virginia. I think the defense is now coming around a little bit there. Offensively, they can actually score points. I mean, they've been putting up points pretty impressively. I picked them to beat Duke. I thought they would. Then they eventually did there with 34-20 win. I think they're coming around. They've won now 2 games so far in the season, 2 and 3. I mean, they don't look as bad as what they did, opening season there. So you have to give it up to Coach Mendenhall, turning it around here, getting 2 solid wins, trying to build momentum into the season there. At number 11, we got Georgia Tech. Struggled offensively again against Miami. I think that's going to be their bread and butter this season. They have to find some way to score some points and move the chains there. I think they struggled all season long for the most part against good competition there. So at number 11, Georgia Tech. Number 12, Syracuse. Offensively, they're sound and everything. Defense, they've struggled. They cannot stop anybody, and that's kind of their forte this season. They can't stop anyone defensively, so they depend on the offense to score. Number 13, Boston College, had an kind of off week there. They played some easy cupcake schedule, but they got the win. And that's kind of what they need to do early on. I mean, they haven't had much success, but the offense had some success this week and last week. They came at number 13. Now let's see if they can turn around and do that again in the ACC play there. And number 14, last there, I have Duke. They struggled. They don't look very good. I would say, against Notre Dame, they got the big win, but you can't really say much about Notre Dame anymore. I think they just, I don't know. They just kind of struggle offensively. I don't know if they'll be able to turn around, to save their season. It'd be hard for me to say that they're going to be bowl eligible this year there. So that's our All Things ACC rankings there. Kind of just wanted to talk a little bit some college football here. I had a little segment there, some of week 5 there. I would say the most impressive wins, obviously everybody's going to talk about Washington over Stanford. They pretty much demolished them, especially in the trenches. They held McCaffrey all night long. I mean, they just completely dominated. Now they're up to number 5. They are a serious threat in the college playoff. Pac-12, not as good as everybody thought they would be, but they run the table. It's going to be hard for them not to be in that position. At number 5 there already in the season there. Clemson over Louisville, solid win for the Tigers. Michigan over Wisconsin, that was a hard-fought victory for the Wolverines, something that they haven't been used to, and eventually they usually lose something like to especially some top 25 teams in a kind of grind-out kind of fashion. But they are looking good and solid. Everybody's now looking forward, really, since Michigan State kind of fell against Indiana this week, and now 2-2. You're going to be looking like Ohio State and Michigan right now for that chance to be in the college playoff there. It might come down to that one. The Tennessee over Georgia, everybody's going to talk about that one. I would say 2 Hail Marys there. Not really, but Georgia scored 10 seconds, 47-yard touchdown from Easton. Thought the game was over. Then Tennessee Dubs came back, threw a bomb, and what a game, man. Whoa, that you never know with college football what can happen there. And Tennessee, you got to give it up. Maybe it's their kind of dream season. They're at number 9, and they have a lot of games coming up that they could really take advantage of, especially being the SEC. You talk about California over Utah. They've defeated now 2 top 25 teams. Now, granted, Utah, I think it's a solid win right there for Cal. Texas, I don't think very much. I was not a very firm believer, and when they defeated Notre Dame and stuff like that, I think people judged a little bit too high, or they wanted Texas to be up there. Now they're coming back to reality. I don't think they're as good as everybody thinks. They can't stop anybody. they pretty much have to outscore everybody. So to be honest with you, I don't think I will not be picking them against Oklahoma for this coming week there. I think Oklahoma's defense will be too much, and Texas cannot score. They're gonna have to score, and I don't think they're gonna be able to stop Oklahoma there. My last one would have been Oklahoma State over Texas. Like I said, I think Texas is overrated. Oklahoma State now has finally proved it, especially against a team that all they have to do is get a couple key stops, and you kind of can take care of the Longhorns in ways there. The Week 6 rankings were just released on this weekend here. Now, ACC now has 6 teams in the AP Top 25. At 1 and 2, Alabama, Ohio State. Clemson comes in number 3, received 1 first-place vote. They jump up 2 spots. Louisville dropped down 4 spots at number 7, still in the playoff hunt because they still got to face Houston. So if those teams continue to win and everything like that, Ohio State, Michigan still have to play. Washington, you never know. That's the only team that they could run the table and stuff like that. Could take a spot from them. Miami is moving up another 4 spots. They're 4-0. They have a big game. They will be favored against Florida State this week. There, they come in number 10, break the top 10. For the first time in a long time there. The biggest jump would be North Carolina. They are actually not ranked. I said if they defeated Florida State, they will find their way in the top 25. I didn't think they would jump all the way to number 17, but they jumped up now to 17, right behind Arkansas and right above Florida. They have some now a signature win on Larry Fedora and this season there. They have another game coming up against Virginia Tech, who actually comes in at number 25 in the top 25 right there. So they have another chance to, at home, in front of a very good crowd there, 3:30 kickoff. They have another chance to get a top 25 win on their resume. Number 23, Florida State, they dropped 11 spots. They were the biggest droppers, I would say. I'm kind of surprised that they kind of still are in the top 23, but top 25. They're coming out at number 23, but going against Miami, that number 10 versus number 23, 2 rankings, always brings a little bit more, heat to that rivalry right there, and should be a good one. Like I said, Hokies come in at number 25. They were off last week, but they've had some impressive wins. I say impressive as they've been on a good showing against them, pretty much dominated. They struggled against Tennessee and everything, but now they have a chance to move up in the rankings against UNC, number 17. So that should be a very good one. I think the 2 matchups you're looking at are Week 6, number 17 versus number 25, UNC versus Virginia Tech and Chapel Hill, 3:30 kickoff there. And then number 10 versus number 23, Miami versus Florida State. The rivalry that's always there between those teams. Miami could make a nice big, jump up the rankings again, continue their rise. And, Florida State could be out of the rankings, top 25. And I don't even know how long. It's been a while since they haven't been in the past few years there in the top 25. So that will be my kind of week 6 kind of rankings preview there. We're going to have some more coming up here when we talk some previews about some Week 6 matchups that we have going on. So maybe some players to watch out for, and then talk a little bit more about college football and overall there. We're going to get some more discussion going on with everybody. So other than that, enjoy your Monday afternoon, and we'll talk to you soon.